Good morning to the Toon Review Army. Hope you are all well on this Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the show. My name's Paul, joined again by, as usual, Billy Bob. And the build-up to the new Premier League season is on. The fixtures were announced, of course, at 9 o'clock this morning. So that's what we're primarily going to talk about this morning and see where we go this season. If you do enjoy the show, guys, as usual, give it that thumbs up button. And, of course, if you're new and you like what you see or you're watching this on a rerun, please do subscribe. Free to do so. Come and be part of an incredible community that we have on the Toon Review. And also hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. You can, of course, become a member by hitting the join button just underneath me and Billy. And you can super chat the show if you do so wish by hitting the $sign underneath the live comments. And that will guarantee your comment to be read out on the show. Good morning, Sir Billy Bob.
Good morning, and good morning to everyone out there watching too.
Now, we may as well get straight into it, Billy, the fixtures.
Yeah.
Now, in the past, we as Newcastle United fans have had a lot to complain about with the fixtures. Opening day, final day, and, of course, Boxing Day. Boxing Day is the one where we seem to always be away at a Liverpool or a Manchester United. And they put us up against some of the high hitters. Last season's start, of course, where we played all the big boys very early doors. This time around, I have to say, Billy, very favourable fixtures. We'll put them up on the screen in a minute. But we're at home on the opening day, we're at home on Boxing Day, and we're at home on the final day.
Yeah, and fixtures we expect to win, of course, as well. Starting off with Southampton at home. Boxing Day, we got Villa at home, and the last day of the season, Everton at home. So 3 games we should be winning. And I think it's a really, really good start of the season. I expect us to be very near the top, given coming into September, when it starts to get a little bit tougher. Man City come the end of September. But yeah, you're going to put the fixture up in a minute anyway. So let's go through them.
Indeed, Dean's saying here, if we aren't in the top 6 by the end of October, Howe needs replacing. It could be interesting to see when the FA Cup starts to see how away days this year we have, as there wasn't many home games. Yeah, the cup draws will be interesting. Trevor says, hopefully we don't need points in last 3 games. Listen, I think we'll be. I'm looking.
We'll have won the title by then, lads.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we'll be swinging and celebrating from the rafters with our Premier League win. Right, let's get the fixtures up. We'll have a quick look at them now. Apologies if they're a bit small on your screen. They are tiny on mine. So bear with me while my eyesight tries to adjust. Of course, August looks very favourable, Billy. I mean, you've got Southampton at home, then we go to Bournemouth, and then we play Tottenham, who have a rotten record at St James's Park in recent years. November, again, one of the big boys, Arsenal. Forest away, West Ham at home, and Crystal Palace away. So, actually, I've just completely wiped out September and October. I do apologise. It's because it's going sideways and not downwards. Bloody hell. September, Wolves away, Fulham away, Man City at home, and Everton, Brighton, and Chelsea in October. So I can see what Dean means. I think we should be really looking to start the season in a positive manner, especially the first 3 months.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, of course, the Spurs game is the first game that Tonali is available to play. Whether we will or not, so they'll get the fish. But I'm sure he'll be on the bench, and I'm sure that the crowd will be up for his return. Bournemouth away, we've struggled there, really, haven't we, the past couple of years? But, yeah, maybe at the start of a new season, everyone's fresh, go there and get a win. In Southampton, I don't like playing promoted teams first off, but if you're going to play them at home. And I'm quite pleased with that start.
Well, of course, we played Forest a couple of years back, didn't we, when they first came to the Premier League? And it took a wonder strike from Fabian Schär to get things moving for us in that game. But then again, we look at our whole first home game last season, Villa absolutely destroyed them.
We did.
Do you know what it is, though, about Tonali, Billy? Because I put him in the thumbnail for that very reason, just to mention when his return is going to be. And I'm excited because I think he'll have pre-season behind him, not pre-season games, of course, unless they play a couple behind closed doors, which I think they will. I've got a feeling they will, to get him fit. So I don't think, we're only 2 games into the season when he's eligible to come back. So the chances are he could be back in the first team setup very, very quickly rather than be on the bench.
Is he back the 25th?
I think it's the Tottenham game. He is back.
I mean, if it's the 25th, I mean, they're not going to move the Bournemouth fixture and allow Tonali to play, I wouldn't have thought. But
well, unless TV moves it for some reason.
Well, I'm saying if Sky won it on the Sunday, I mean, I don't think they will. Personally, I mean, what would they give us an extra game of him? You know, they'd be probably told not to. But I mean, it could happen if it is the 12th. I think it is the 25th. Might not be, but definitely the Spurs game, home game, to have him back as well. Yeah, and like you said, if we have a couple of pre-season games behind closed doors, plus the whole of pre-season, let's be honest, plus the last 12 months of him keeping himself fit and, you know, getting ready for this day, then maybe he will be available to start. Who knows?
I am extremely excited to see Mr. Tonali back. I really am. Mason's just saying that Ryan Bertrand has just announced on Sky Sports News that he's retiring.
I thought we already had.
Lawrence says, imagine going to the Emirates and ending Arsenal's title hopes and then having Everton's relegation confirmed at St James's Park whilst we seal Champions League football. Lawrence is dreaming away inside. Lawrence, please don't sort of choke on your milk on your Weetabix, mate. Just floating away there in dreamland. I get what you're saying, and I've already seen a lot of Newcastle United fans commenting this morning saying, wouldn't it be hilarious if we're celebrating something like the Champions League or better at the end of the season and relegate our old friends down the road from Merseyside and Jordan Pickford's face as he trundles off at St James's Park while he sees the celebrations going on around him. Many people have already started thinking about that, Billy, and that's the excitement, isn't it, of the Premier League season when the fixtures come out. We start to dream again.
Well, Carlsberg don't do dreams, but if they did, I think that one Lawrence mentioned there is a pretty good one.
Yeah,
I'm thinking more of going to the Emirates to play Arsenal and actually securing the title there. Why not? Can dream.
The dream. Yeah. Becky says, get some points on the board early on, then push on from there. Absolutely. Lawrence says, Tonali will also get a Carabao Cup second round tie to play before we play Spurs. I forgot about that. Indeed, because we go in a little bit earlier this time around as opposed to last year with the Champions League, of course. So he could basically get a game in before we play Spurs, which would be excellent.
Yeah.
Ali B saying, anyone see the rumor AC Milan to want him back? I think that is just a paper rumor, to be honest. I don't think there's any.
Just imagine though. I mean, you sell him for cheap. He's then banned for a year, then you buy him back. Don't think so. Don't think without that.
Well, if they want him back, try double the price.
Yeah,
and call that compensation on top. But no, I don't think that's happening. Good morning, Paul and Billy. I hope Armstrong doesn't come back to haunt us. Well, we'll see who Southampton have in their ranks next season. Of course, Ryan Fraser's going to be there as well. I mean, he looked at that fixture and think, that is just typical for Ryan Fraser. But he'll have a point to prove as well. So, you know, these aren't easy games in the Premier League anymore. I think Southampton will have a very decent squad next season. They've already got players in that team who are Premier League experienced. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting atmosphere to see what kind of reception Mr. Fraser gets, should he, of course, confirm his deal with Southampton. Dean says, Lloyd Kelly seems like a nice guy, seems like a smart move for club finances, and he does represent strengthening the squad. Yeah, he does. Laura says, Howe got no excuse for top four next season as a minimum. We have no European footy to deal with. I think, again, fans' expectations, Billy, are starting to grow again. We have to be realistic but optimistic as well. Now, they're two very different things, but looking at that start that we have to the season, I generally think that providing injuries don't come back to haunt us again, and we make some very good acquisitions in the summer that are going to strengthen, we've said all along that squad we had last year, if they were all fully fit and not suspended, was good enough for a Champions League finish. Yeah, I believe that again this season, before we've even made any more signings.
Even more so, because there's less games to play.
Yeah.
So we are going to strengthen the squad. That's clear. I would tend to agree with Laura. I think top four is a minimum this year.
Yeah. Alexander Ludi says, this is the season. Dependable on if we get another centre-back and a quality right wing. I believe top 2 minimum for us is there for the taking.
Maybe. I mean, minimum was a bit harsh.
It could be. I think minimum, yes. But I do generally think that we can give it a good go. There's no reason we can't. I think if we make St James's Park an absolute fortress like we know we can, then I think we are in for a very big season. I'm really confident for next season. Many people say, I've just caught that comment. Rafi Benissian says the club website states he can play competitive games on the 27th of August.
27th, which means, so he's never going to play the Bournemouth game, but the Carabao Cup game that's in between
Carabao
that.
Cup, yeah.
Then he, so we've got 5th, 25th, 26th, 27th. It's Tuesday, so it's going to, he'll be able to play that.
Yeah, he will. Hamid says, here, guys, I think if Howe is not in the top 6 mixture by December, I think he's getting sacked. No more excuses now. This fixture list is the best we have had. Now, I know Hamid isn't an Eddie Howe fan, but I do also agree with him. I think this is a big time for Eddie Howe. He'll have seen those fixtures this morning and thought, right, we have got a very, very good squad. We have got a very competitive squad. I need to manage these players as best I can, but the players, of course, have to turn up as well. But I'm genuinely excited, Billy.
Well, first and foremost, the fixture lists are the same every year. You play everyone twice. It's as simple as that. So they're never favourable. But what it should give us, is momentum at the start of the season, which of course breeds confidence, and then you can go through the season on the back of that. So from that point of view, I agree. I think if we're not in the top 4 come the end of October, then there'll be something wrong, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah.
It is a favourable win of fixtures, especially in August. I mean, it's potential there for us to win all the first 3 games, isn't it? And then go to Wolves, we do quite well there. We go to Fulham, we always do well there. Then our first real hard game is the Man City game on the 28th of September. So, but even by the end of September, we should really be looking top 4, maybe higher.
Fubar Steve says, morning, fellas, and the TTR community. Tonali back for the Spurs game. Well, he could be back for the Carabao. Of course, Lawrence has just informed us that would be tremendous. Laura says, I hope we are not starting the season with Longstaff, Miggy, or Wilson, hoping we replace all. Time will tell, Laura. Time will tell. But I think we will, to be fair. Right, let's take a look at sort of later on into the season. Of course, over Christmas period, November, December, and of course January. We've already spoke about Boxing Day. Looks very, very favourable for us.
Yeah.
November, we have Arsenal at home, Forest away, West Ham at home, Palace away. So again, I mean, look, Palace. I don't know how they're going to perform this season. I think they'll be a lot better this season than previous years. Forest, again, depends on how much money they've got to spend. West Ham will have a new manager, of course. Arsenal stands out for that month, Billy.
Yeah, it's before the end of November, August, September, October, November, every single fixture before the TV get involved is a Saturday fixture. There's no midweek fixtures whatsoever apart from the Carabao Cup. So this is the advantage of not playing European football, 1 game a week as part of the Carabao Cup, as I say. And it's got to be a benefit to us. It has to be. It really just has to be a benefit to us. Arsenal, the first home game in November. On the second, it's going to be a tough game. But we've got their number of late, really. Then we go to Forest. We've won twice there the past 2 seasons. West Ham at home. Could go either way. They're a good side, West Ham, but fans just there. Then Palace away. Like you say, who knows who's going to be playing for Palace by the beginning of the season? Because it seems a lot of their best players have got a lot of shooters after their signatures. So, end of November, again, it's a good month for us.
December's very interesting for me. Of course, Liverpool at the start of the month, then we've got sort of Brentford away, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, which is, of course, the Bobby Robson derby, Aston Villa at home, and then Manchester United away at the end of the month. So, that there's some tough fixtures in there, but it's a very competitive month.
Yeah, Liverpool on a Wednesday. That's our first midweek league fixture on the Wednesday, 4th of December.
Yep.
Liverpool home. No doubt that'll be on TV. It's a very congested fixture list in December. It always is. But let's be honest, there's no European football again to clog it up even more. So, before, obviously, there's no European football in December, but November's clogged with it.
Yeah.
And this is when teams in them competitions have injuries. and you really want a full squad of fit players for December, because as I say, 6 games ending at Manchester United on Old Trafford on the 29th.
I have a feeling, though, Billy, I know a lot of these fixtures are on a Saturday. I have a feeling a lot of them will change.
Yeah.
A lot of them will change to a Sunday for TV games.
Yeah.
And if we do have a very good start of the season, of course, if we're up there, the likelihood is we're going to be on TV a lot. So, again, Monday night fixtures, of course, will come into play. So there will be some moved. But that's just to be expected now with the way it all works on TV and stuff like that. Now January is interesting. We go to Tottenham to start the new year off. Then at home to Wolves, Bournemouth at home as well. So 2 home games in the middle of the month, and then it all starts again against Southampton away. So interesting month, but again, some favourable fixtures in January to get started into the new year. And I know it's only halfway through the season then, but you start to look at the running then. So after January, you start to look at where you are in the league and start to believe again. Yeah,
first game of the new year will be at Spurs, but then you've got a cup tie the week after that, on the 11th or 12th or whatever they schedule it for. And then 2 favourable home games and then a favourable away game at Southampton. Which hopefully will stay on the 25th of January on a Saturday to give fans a chance to get down there. It's a long old trek to Southampton from Newcastle. We don't want that on a Monday night or anything like that, or a Friday night. So just keep things as they are. But obviously, these fixtures will be subject to change because of the TV companies.
Claire says, I did smile seeing Liverpool get the 12:30 slot they hate for the first game. Well, they hated last year because of the European situation, and in a way, I did it. If that was Newcastle United involved in that, I think I'd be pretty angry as well, getting thrown in at 12:30. When you see what other countries do as well, Billy, for their European teams, they look after them when it comes to having to move fixtures, so that they're not thrown straight in. I mean, Liverpool playing Champions League, games on a Thursday night it was last season, and then they played a lot of games at 12:30 on a Saturday as well, and just mental. Really,
I mean, they were blaming the Premier League for that, but TNT's slot is a Saturday 12:30 game, and that's why they were moved to 12:30. I think Mr. Klopp was having to go to the wrong people
there. Newcastle v Spurs will be on TV, says Harmy, probably because they know there's going to be goals in that. Davey T says, this is the season. I can feel it in my bones. Everybody, fans, players, medical team, and especially Eddie, have to step up to the plate. Well, I mean, look, that's very, very forward-thinking, Davey, again, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Why can't we be positive? There's nothing to say we can't be positive with the players we've still got available. I mean, all is, dare I say, Billy, Bruno's release clause ends on the 24th of this month. We're now on the 18th. It's gone very, very quiet.
Yeah, well, apparently Man City are interested in him, but not for the fee that the release clause is for.
I think the release clause, which means it's too much.
Tough shit. Unless Bruno wants to leave and says he wants to leave Newcastle, then Man City aren't interested. Apparently, that's the rumours.
Unawama says, on X, I can play the video in the background, overlapping other apps also when driving, and have my phone screen off. Well, you can do that on Twitter, on YouTube as well, mate. You can have it playing on YouTube on a stream, so it's no different. Baz says, overall, it's a great draw. There are no excuses, and we surely won't have the same run of injuries. Mary says, will Tonali play for the Tottenham game? I'm sure he'll be back. Absolutely. Alexander, let's not be so blind. Some teams can be surprised against us. I'm not confident that we can bounce back fast per last season. We just have to be smart and have different tactics. Alexander, I normally agree with you, but I am very positive about this season. I'm not going into this blind as you know, a lot of excited football fans and think, oh, we're going to walk the league and things like that. It's never like that. It just isn't. But I am confident, like some other people have said in the chat, I think this could be the season that we get some silverware. And do you know what? I've never actually sat and said that before. Maybe I did predict us to win the Carabao last year. However, things are different this time around. I'm telling you, things are different this time around. There is a buzz, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester United winning that cup final could be the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah.
You know, literally, we know what our fixtures are, apart from Carabao Cup and FA Cup ties. Yeah, there's no congestion really. You know, the FA Cup ties usually are on a Saturday anyway. I think that's changed. No, I think they're still on a Saturday this year. I think they've changed, haven't they?
Yeah.
So there's no games that correspond with third round, fourth round, fifth round, and quarterfinals ties from this season onwards.
Yeah.
And the cup final actually is before the season ends as well, which is odd. Yeah, the Everton game is the week after the cup final, so interesting.
Craig says, Paul Talk is Man City are coming in for Bruno after the release clause. They do not think he is worth 100k or 100 million. Well, stick it, because Newcastle can then turn around and say, go away. Personally, I don't think Bruno would kick up a fuss. I really do. I really do believe that Newcastle is a club that he's quite happy to stay at, especially looking at next season, the opportunities that we will have next season. I think Bruno will stick around. I don't think he'll be in. It will bother him at all that Man City come in and make an offer, because if Manchester City really wanted Bruno, they'd pay the release clause.
Exactly, and I think he's worth more than that. I think the release clause
absolutely
underestimating him. Man City think the other way.
100%.
That move 100% going to happen, is it?
So I do believe Bruno will be a Newcastle United player next season. That's just a hunch I have. City and other Arsenal licking their lips for Bruno, but don't want to pay for him. Exactly. Pay the money or shut up. That's, pay the release clause or offer to pay the release clause and then leave it up to Bruno if he wants to go. However, I think if the release clause passes, I am convinced that it doesn't matter who comes in for him with a lower price. Newcastle will tell them to get lost because Bruno is under contract. And Bruno himself, I don't think would kick up a stink either. I think he'd just get on with his job because he loves Newcastle anyway.
And let's not forget, he only signed that contract last season. So he's
exactly
for at least another 4.
Yeah.
This release clause was part of that deal. Once that's over and done with, that's it.
Or the club could seriously cash in post-deadline. Don't think they will, though. So fingers crossed we have him another season at least. Just waiting to know before I buy a new shirt. Claire says, 1 game a week. I don't see how rotating much except up front. Well, I think if he's got a big squad to rotate with and quality players to rotate with, then I think he will. However, the midfield, I think, for me, just writes its own story. I mean, if he's going the 4-3-3 again, which we think he will, then the midfield 3 are going to be Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali. I don't think anybody would argue with that. But I think also when it comes to the Carabao Cup, it enables Newcastle to play some of the other players who are also quality. I think it will be tough to beat in the Cups next season, Billy.
The difference for me is horses for courses. For one, you can play different players to suit against different teams. Lloyd Kelly, for instance, playing at centre half against a nippy striker rather than have Dan Burn there, who prefer rough and tumble of the strikers. And then there's also risking players that have knocks. We don't have to do that next season. We shouldn't have to do that next season.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if Joe Linton has a slight knock, last season he would probably played through it and got himself injured. This season, hopefully, we can put in a Joe Willock or an Elliot Anderson or whatever, and kind of protect our squad even more that way. So, yeah, it works 2 ways for me.
There's a lot of comments saying in the chat today about Eddie Howe. It has to be this, it has to be that, right? I think we're all aware that where Eddie Howe needs to take Newcastle next season, and one man that will know that more than anybody is Eddie himself. And I don't think Eddie will be looking at next season and thinking, well, if we get 7th or 8th, that's good enough again. That won't be good enough for Eddie as well. Eddie will know that the pressure is on him. The pressure is on every single Premier League manager at the start of every season. The pressure is on them, and that pressure never goes away throughout the season. So Eddie himself will know that the pressure's on, but I think Eddie's going to respond to that pressure next season, and I think he's going to be absolutely a fantastic manager for Newcastle next year. I genuinely do. The players respond to him. The players love him. The fans love him. The club love him, and he loves the club. And when you've got that kind of mixture there, Billy, that's what makes out for a winning side. And providing he keeps everybody fit, I don't have a problem with Eddie Howe being manager next season. I think he's going to be fantastic.
All those things, plus, because we have less fixtures, we can play the way that he really wants us to play week in, week out. And that is the intensity, is our identity. Like we played the season we finished 4th. We had a break mid-season for the World Cup. And we're able to do that all season. This season, with the lack of games compared to last season, and with a much improved squad, depth-wise, that intensity could come back. We can see high press at its ultimate. We press higher and more vicious than anybody in the league when we're on full song. And I think we'll see a lot more of that next season.
Alexander says the new medical staff will play a huge role to making sure the players are fit and ready. I'm confident. Some of these not telling us, Billy. There's some of these he's not telling us. I'd love to know what it is, but he's like a Secret Service agent right now. He's just not coming out with anything.
He took an elbow last night at the France game from a fellow French fan, and the French fan bought him a beer as compensation.
Oh, Jesus. David T says there's no sense in City waiting for the clause to expire. One, they then have to go into a bidding war with others, and the club would want in excess of 100 million anyway. And I've seen a few comments coming in from the chat, which they're all right. Man City paid 100 million for Jack Grealish.
Yep.
Right? Now, for me, I know Jack Grealish is a wonderful footballer, don't get me wrong, but you can't compare values. Bruno is levels above Jack Grealish, in my opinion. And if you're looking at valuations, if they paid 100 million for Grealish, then what the hell is Bruno worth?
It's strange, isn't it? If they're not prepared to meet the release clause, that's the cheapest they're going to get him for. If they're not prepared to do it, then I don't see him going there. It's simple and straightforward as that.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
Once that release clause is finished, his value goes up for me. Maybe by a third on top of what maybe you're looking at 140, 150 million for him. I honestly generally believe that.
I mean, it's the same with Isak, isn't it? I mean, when Isak was, was he ever linked with Arsenal, or was that just the Arsenal fans making the link? Because to me, that's what happened with the links with Isak and Arsenal. It was the fans who were trying to generate that interest, and that's all gone away because they couldn't. There's no way they could afford Alexander Isak for a start. And I mean, again with Isak, Billy, you're talking hundreds of millions.
It's clear that Arsenal need a centre forward. That's the position they need more than anything. What Arsenal fans have done is looked at the league scoring table last season and seen Alexander Isak as a second highest scoring striker behind Haaland. They clearly aren't going to get Haaland, so they've gone to the next one down. Isak, not happening. You don't see it. They want to link themselves to Ollie Watkins, who scored. Maybe they will next. I don't know. Very deluded people.
There has been a report, literally in the last 20 minutes, Billy, that Barcelona are interested in 2 Premier League stars.
Right.
One of them being Luis Diaz at Liverpool, and the other being Bruno. Now, these have been identified by, of course, Deco, who now runs the show at Barcelona, of course, the former player. Barcelona have already been linked with moves for Mikel Merino, Nico Williams, and others. However, Deco seems to have set his sights on 2 of the Premier League top stars, and Bruno, the Newcastle midfielder, is Deco's preferred choice for the central midfield position. Now, I think it's Hansi Flick that's the new manager there, isn't he, at Barca? And apparently he's a big fan of Bruno himself. However, where's the money coming from? Where would the money come from for Barcelona? I mean, they're talking about Nico Williams in that same conversation. And for me, they just don't have the money. It says at the bottom of the report, however, if Barcelona's finances align this summer, they'll go all in for the sporting bombs like Bruno and Diaz this summer.
Well, I need to align them before the 25th of June. Otherwise, I'll be paying a lot more for Bruno than what they would now. I mean, see it. Barcelona was skint.
Well, exactly. I mean, we know that Barcelona don't have a lot of money. But then again, Billy, we've seen in recent seasons, Barcelona, they have no money. They're struggling to pay players. They can't register players in the squad because they can't get other squad members out. Yeah. Yet they always seem to turn it around. By the end of the transfer window, they'll have made some big signings. But I find it strange that, I mean, how much is Bruno and Luis Diaz going to cost Barcelona?
Well, I'd say Luis Diaz is possibly even more expensive than Bruno would be.
Wow.
He's at a Champions League club, Liverpool. You know, to get him out of there, I think you're looking at, I don't know, it's a ridiculous price for him.
I mean,
Bruno, if they're not going to sign him during the release clause, again, you're looking at 140 million quid. They ain't got it.
I love how the cartel just think we are selling club and that we will still bend over just to make them bigger. That's not going to happen anymore. Ollie says, to be honest, it's a shame Karius never got a chance. He could have been a mainstay second keeper if he had a good run of games last season. Yeah, look, I think in the end, though, I think Karius wanted to move because he wanted to be closer to his partner. You know, she works in, I think it's Italian TV she works in, and she's got a really good career there. And to be fair, Karius wanted to go and, you know, spend some time with her, which I'm not going to have a go at him for. I think, you know, it looks like he's sort of looking at her career and thinking, you know, I'm not going to put a shadow or a doubt on that. I'll make the move. He's out of contract, and I'm sure there's a club going to take him on without a shadow of a doubt. I'm sure, you know, somebody will sign Karius, because for me, he is a very good goalkeeper. Yeah. And I don't give a damn what people say about the Champions League final. I will say till the cows come home that he was concussed by Sergio Ramos, and I haven't changed my mind on that at all. If you look at that challenge again, you will know. JPD says, do Barcelona still have the pulling power with having their own problems with finances? Well, this is the thing. I mean, Nicholas is there. Barcelona can't afford a ham sandwich at the moment. This is all about trying to unsettle the players.
I agree. Barcelona, let's remember, they're very much the second-class citizens of Spanish football at the minute. Real Madrid, the Champions League winners, La Liga winners. They have all the stars, Mbappe, Bellingham, and Barcelona. They're not going to be able to compete anyway. So why would you want to go to Barcelona at this moment in time? I don't see that for a player at this moment in time. You're going to go to Spain, you want to go to Real Madrid, don't you?
Well, I mean, that's where everybody goes. Another news story has broken this morning, Billy, involving Yankuba Minte, and it looks, according to Sky, that it's Borussia Dortmund who are considering a move. Now, this isn't a loan deal, Billy. This has been reported as an actual signing. Now, of course, Newcastle have valued Minte at £40 million. When we signed him for £6, I mean, it'd be a hell of a. I mean, consider he's never pulled on a black and white shirt yet. You know, if we get 40 million for him, it's an incredible piece of business. But this is on the proviso that they failed to re-sign Jadon Sancho. So of course, Sancho is in the mix. Of course, Borussia would want to sign him back because that's just, he fits in there like a glove. I mean, we've seen that when he went back from Manchester United. But that's on the proviso that they don't get Jadon Sancho. They will turn their attention to Minte. But of course, it doesn't mean that Newcastle will sell him. I think that's why they've put to be honest, a £40 million price tag on him to try and ward off any potential teams coming in for him, Billy.
Yeah, well, Sancho, they want 40 million for him, don't they? But the difference is there. He wants 300k a week wages, which obviously they've been paying while he's on loan. But can they do it for a season? I don't know. Minte, nowhere near quarter. You know, that price wise, wage wise, nowhere near it.
Staggering.
So yeah, 40 million quid, and then given 100,000 a week. I think he'd take it. I think we'd sell him for that. I do honestly. Yeah. I do honestly.
Gary says that Eddie is probably the best man manager in the league. I'd be looking mid-30 points come Christmas. If anybody comes in for Bruno and Isak, minimum for the two, 350 million. Barca are skint in a big way. Yeah, look, I think he's right, Billy, because we're not a selling club anymore, right? We're not a selling club. We can dictate prices for players now without being pushed around by anybody else. So if we want to value Isak at 200 million and Bruno at 200 million, then sod the rest of them.
Yeah, it's once this release clause out the way, you know, we're looking at telephone figures for fees for telephone numbers. So once this release goes out the way, they stay in next season at the very least, and probably longer than that, because they're both contracted for a while. I think Isak may set a new contract this summer. They were talking to the chairman after the last game of the season at home. I think they want to get him tied down to another couple of years on top of what he's got, and maybe a higher rate of wage. And Bruno, of course, signed one last season, so them two are tied. If this release clause of Bruno is gone by, no bids at £100 million, then he's with us for the foreseeable, I think.
Now, another transfer rumour kicking around, Billy, reported from a claim in Italy that Newcastle have initiated contact with Atalanta about signing goalkeeper Juan Musso. Now, Juan Musso is he's going to be costing around 10 to 12 million euros to try and get him out of Atalanta. And then today's Corriere della Sera backs up Newcastle's interest in he's 30-year-old, this goalkeeper. He lost his place in the starting lineup to Carnesecchi in December, and his deal is until 2025, and he would be allowed to leave the Serie A side this summer. Again, it's a little bit uninspiring, Billy, considering, Musso's 30 now. He lost his place in the Atalanta side. It's strange to me if we would go for a goalkeeper of 30-year-old just to be back up to Nick Pope when the likes of Trafford are still available.
Yeah, it would me too, unless he was coming in as a third choice, and we're going to spend 12 million euros on a third choice goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we're going to try and save 10 million by having a goalkeeper 10 years older than what we've got before, I don't think so. I don't think it's a good move for us at all.
Well, they initially paid £20 million for him from Udinese 2 years ago. And his contract runs out at the end of next season. So Newcastle, by their own accounts, would probably go in lower than 10 to 12 million euros because they can feel they can get him a bit cheaper because of his contract. Villarreal are also interested in from Spain, of course. They're showing interest in the goalkeeper as well. I don't think that's got any legs, Billy. I think that's a report coming from Italy, and we know how they like to press some signings from time to time.
Yeah, not for me. Not for me at all.
Wonder how much money Mbappe are going to be once he goes to Real Madrid. I think he's
going to be able to afford a new nose, put it that way.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Looked awful, that, didn't it?
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But see him go off the pitch, then go back on it, and then sit down to try and waste time.
Yeah.
They should fine him for that.
It doesn't need surgery, apparently, it's been reported this morning. So, Steve says, more pound shop shopping, big drop from Mamadashvili. Yeah, but Steve, Mamadashvili was coming in as a number one. If we signed him, I'm in no doubt that he would be coming in as number one, even overtaking Nick Pope. If we're going to spend that kind of money on a goalkeeper, it's not to sit on the bench. No way. However, this kind of money is for a reserve goalkeeper. And like Billy said, it may even be for third choice. And have, but then again, we'd have 4 goalkeepers then, because obviously Gillespie's going to be at the club next year as well. So Magneil says, this mindset that Newcastle will sell their best players to our rivals is laughable now. Pundits in the press need to realise our owners are serious in their goals to win silverware. 100%, mate. 100%.
I agree.
But we've seen this since the takeover, guys, and I think that's the thing that everybody has to realize. We've seen this kind of bullshit from the press and the media since the takeover. Newcastle United will still have to sell. They'll have to do this. They're always trying to rock the boat, right? Completely rock the boat when it comes to Newcastle. We see it week in, week out, day in, day out, and that isn't going to stop. As long as we are owned by, there will also always be backlash and trying to upset the apple cart. And we as fans now, it's water off a duck's back to us. It's certainly water off a duck's back to the owners of Newcastle United. That's a certainty. See that Ryan Sessegnon is available on a free from Spurs. Could be worth a punt. Yeah, but Michael, do we really need to take a punt in the situation we're in at the minute? I don't think we do. Sessegnon, for me, he went to Spurs, a lot of potential there, no doubt about it. But listen, if Spurs are getting rid of him, there's a reason for that. And, if Spurs are wanting him out the door, he's simply not good enough. He wouldn't be good enough for Newcastle in my eyes. He's gone way down the pecking order. I mean, he didn't play a lot of games for Spurs last season, I don't think. So he's gone way down the pecking order there. And I don't think there's a chance of him getting many games at all if he came to Newcastle.
I think Ange sent him out on loan last season, if I remember rightly. I think he went and played in France, didn't he, or Germany or somewhere?
Was that not his brother?
Good player. Hell of a good player.
Yeah,
there's 2 Sessegnons, yeah. The 3, the one that he's played for Sunderland, Sausage and Onion.
Yes.
I thought he was a good player at Fulham. Yeah, an excellent player. But hasn't quite progressed, has he, at Spurs? It wasn't a good move for him.
Yeah.
Oh, not for me. Not for me.
Darren says we need to sell Miggy and Wilson and replace both. I don't expect anything to happen with Miggy while the Copa America's going on, because obviously he's over there in that tournament, and I don't think there'll be any movement on Miggy until Paraguay go out of the tournament at some stage, and then I'd see probably, hopefully, a little bit of movement on that. Foxy says Carrier's played 7 games in the last 4 seasons. His career is second to personal life. No real type of commitment to the game, which is why he'll never be a first-choice goalkeeper again. No Serie A club even linked. Oh, that's harsh, Foxy. I mean, it's not really Carrier's fault. I think Liverpool shit on him from the highest height. I really genuinely think that. And Foxy, you obviously think different. That is fair enough, buddy. But I think Karius was badly shit on by Liverpool Football Club and Jurgen Klopp in particular. He put him under the bus, and it kind of never recovered for Karius, because you look at that season before he played for Liverpool, before that Champions League final, they were raving about him. And they were saying he'd had a brilliant season for Liverpool, and that ruined him. And then he was thrown under the bus. So, you know, I do think he's a good goalkeeper. I will stick by that.
He'll get a club somewhere.
I think he will. I think he will. Let's hope Miggy has a great Copa America and we can put his price up. Oh, I'm not so sure, because you know what? Can you imagine Miggy has an outstanding Copa America, and then suddenly half the fan base turns around and goes, "I told you so. Yeah. Let's just keep him. Let's just."
I like to stay now. I have a cool Copa America.
We know. How fans react, and I can't go through that kind of crap. Lady Sam is in the chat. Afternoon, lads. Regarding Miggy, is both parties agree a deal we can force Miggy to leave, or is it ultimately player choice if within contract? It's the club. I mean, if we decide to sell him, but then again, Miggy could dig his heels in when it comes to negotiating with another club. I do also think, though, Billy, that, you know, if another club comes in for Miggy, then it's how they sell their project to the player itself as well.
Of course it is, yeah. You know, any professional footballer who wants to play shouldn't be about the money. I don't know how much is even on Newcastle United. But if it's going to move, you should be getting more money anyway. You know, you've got to entice him into your club, whether that be in the Premier League, whether it be in La Liga, whether it be in Saudi. Obviously, they're going to entice him with money there. Mm-hmm. But it's about playing football for me. You know, getting yourself on the pitch week in, week out. That's not going to happen at Newcastle United next season, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah. I hope not, anyway.
Absolutely. Tangy says he likes the Dortmund striker Füllkrug's backup. Listen, I love Füllkrug, and he's an absolute tank of a player. But I think it would cost a lot of money to get him out of Dortmund right now. Especially, yeah, that's the thing. I don't think he'd want to sit on the bench. Listen, I mean, if we were to get a player like Füllkrug to better that front line, then let's go for it. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much it would take to get him out of Dortmund, if I'm honest. A lot of money, I'm thinking. But there you go, guys. That is the morning news done and dusted for you. Obviously, the fixtures took major priority today to talk about, and rightly so, because for me, when the fixtures are released, that starts the build-up. That starts the build-up for the new season. Obviously, some fixtures will be changed for television purposes, but I'm sure we'll get to know in good order how many of them are going to change when the TV companies release their games for the start of the new season. Newcastle will certainly be one of those teams that will be wanting to be televised because of who we are and the controversy that goes around with Newcastle United by the media. We will always be up there, certainly for TV games. There's some big games for us, which I think will be televised, but obviously, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks with regards to the TV companies releasing anything. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Over 800 again. Fantastic for a morning show. You guys are just legends out there. You really, really are. Thank you, Mods, and thank you, Billy. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button before you leave. I can't stress how important that is to the channel, so that we stay out there in the search results so the fellow fans like yourselves can find the channel and hopefully subscribe. If you are new and you've just discovered us, whether you're watching this right now or you're watching on a rerun, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. Come and be part of an incredible community on here. But don't forget to hit the notification bell as well, which will let you know when we schedule these live shows or we upload any recorded ones. Yeah, thank you very much for joining. We are back tonight. I think we've got a transfer show tonight and then Euro 2024. commentary for tonight's 8 o'clock game, which I believe is Portugal, Billy.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Mr. Ronaldo.
It is Mr. Ronaldo, yeah. So, 2 shows tonight. The transfer show will obviously be around 45, 50 minutes long, and then jumping on the new show for the commentary. So lots to go on, lots of stuff coming up as well. But thank you. Have a brilliant Tuesday, guys, and we will see you tonight. In the meantime, good day to you.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check out some green.